What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marv, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Folks, it's been a minute. I missed you. Feels good to be back. Haven't gotten a little bit of recording time in for a good week. But y'all know how it is. Life is lifing, and you gotta take care of home first. And then when you take care of home, you can do what you gotta do. And that's what it is. So I appreciate y'all, for those who still rocking with me, those who hit me up wondering, hey, we getting another episode anytime soon. Here it is. We got one out right now this afternoon. Today is, if I'm right, it's today or is it tomorrow? I should have probably looked this up before making of this video. But yes, today is International Women's Day as I am currently recording this video. I could have done a whole bunch of videos about different women in fictional history, but I didn't feel like as a man I should be covering those types of bases. I didn't want to do any mansplaining at all. But what I did want to do is what I do best, which is review programming. So I found some entertainment that had a female lead, and the best thing I can say is shout out to all the women all over the world who are doing their thing or trying to do their thing, just making it happen for themselves each and every step of the way. I can never imagine what it's like to be a woman. So at the same time, I just say, God bless y'all, all of y'all. I can't speak on what y'all do but I can say that as a man who has a mother, who has sisters, girlfriend right now, and so much other positive role models and influences in my life who are females, I appreciate the heck out of every one of y'all for getting me to this point where I'm at today, motivating me to be my best and pushing myself to the next limit. Now that we got all that out the way, and of course, shout out to all the women who won Oscars this past Sunday, including one of my favorites, Zoe Saldana. She's a legend to me. I've seen her in all the movies when I was a kid, from the Drumlines to the Crossroads, all of that. So shout out to her. Shout out to Mikey Madison. Shout out to everybody who was winning awards. That was a lady. I mean, shout out to everybody winning an award, but shout out to the ladies especially. Now, I decided to check out a show that had a female lead, came from a female's perspective, and was partially created by a lady. And that show is called Running Point. It is currently on Netflix. It stars Kate Hudson, also stars Brenda Song, and a few other notable names that we'll get to in a moment. Now, the reason I say partly is because Mindy Kaling has a hand in creating it, but she is not the sole creator of the show. She is 1/4 of the creation of the show, with the other three being Elaine Coe, Davis Stassen, and Ike Barinholtz. If you don't know who these people are, that's okay. But behind the scenes, they make magic happen on not just this show, but a lot of other shows in the past and currently now. Some of those shows range from Only Murders in the Building, the Mindy Project itself, and right now with this show, Running Point. So this show recently came out probably a week or two ago as of the time I'm recording this. And it should still be one of the top shows on Netflix right now in their top 10, at least in the United States. So I gave it a shot because Mindy Kaling's track record when it comes to creations of TV shows is actually pretty good. A lot of people, put Velma on this pedestal where it means that Mindy Kaling should never make TV shows again. But we have to remember, she killed it with the Mindy Project. She killed it with Never Have I Ever. She killed it with The Sex Lives of College Girls. And Velma is just, unfortunately, that one L she got to sit with. But she ain't tripping. Trust me, she ain't tripping. There's going to be more shows in the pipeline that she's going to make, and they're going to do better than Velma. And that's okay. So with this show, it's basically about a woman named Isla Gordon. And she comes from a family she comes from a family business that is very powerful because they own a basketball team known as the Los Angeles Waves, right? Yeah, it was the Waves or the Wavers? No, the Waves. Los Angeles Waves. And this team is right now not doing what they're supposed to do, but they used to be a powerhouse franchise. She was the daughter of the owner of the team, And she just, always got pushed to the side, overshadowed because she had three brothers. I think like one or two full brothers and one half brother from a second family that always got more attention than her because they were dudes. And she came up around a business that back in the day was very dude centric. Men were priority. They were the top dogs. They were the alpha males. They could do the work, and the women were just pushed to the side, secretaries, object things, and whatever. So because of that, she kind of just floated around, just being a part of her daddy's business, not doing much, wilding out, just being a party girl, all that stuff, right? And after her dad passed, her brother got control of the franchise, and her brothers were all running point in different areas. And one day, her oldest brother, right? Yeah, her oldest brother, he was wilding out, and he got into a car accident. His name was Cam Gordon. He got into a car accident while doing drugs. And your man's was doing all that at the same time, driving stupid fast, trying to make NBA deals, got into a car accident, had to admit that he needed help, went to rehab. While he went to rehab, he could have left it in the hands of his other two brothers, Sandy and Ness, but he felt that Isla could do a better job than Sandy and Ness because he knew that she could give it a better touch than them. So he left her in charge of the Waves, and he went to rehab. And during that time, she had to deal with all the trials and tribulations of just running an organization, all the players having to respond to her because it was a transition. She was working all the way at the bottom of the franchise, just running charities and stuff, just keeping her life in order. And now she went from that and skipped all the way to the top. So this was basically a show just about like dealing with those types of trials and tribulations and what happens when you transition over to that responsibilities of power. I currently know what that's like, getting promoted to a manager where you have to transition, and the trials and tribulations come with that. But that's not about me. Again, like I said, I ain't going to mansplain out here. What I am going to do is just talk about the show. Now, this show benefits from the fact that it has a wide variety of veterans that you've seen on television or just in film, such as Kate Hudson, such as Drew Tarver, Scott McArthur. You know what I'm saying? These people you've seen on television before. Toby Sandeman, Jay Ellis. I'm not going to put a bunch of pictures all over the screen, just like IMDb these people. But they've been all over. They do introduce a lot of twists, like that fact that they have another family member. You have to see who that is. The fact that she's involved in a engagement and she's about to be married, and the trials and tribulations that comes with her leading up to that marriage and the shock ending. You know what? It's been a week. So by now, if you haven't seen it, as always, I'm going to tell y'all, go watch the show first, pause this video, watch the show first, come on back and watch the rest of this review. But she finds out she has another half brother from a secret marriage that her father had with one of the house cleaners. And the guy, he finds out that he has a family. His name is Jackie Moreno, and he becomes one of the family members. This was an interesting twist because, one, it reminded me of another show that's recently on right now, which was called, it had Reba McEntire and Happy's Place. It reminded me of Happy's Place. Now, did I see Happy's Place? No, didn't really take the time to watch it. I heard good things, but I didn't really take the time to watch it. However, Happy's Place is basically a show about a woman who runs a bar. Her father passed away. Another woman comes and finds out in the will that her dad is the same dad who owns this bar that Reba McEntire owns. And now she has a half sister because her dad is her dad. They have the same dad, but their dads was wilding on both their moms. Long story short. This same situation is similar in Running Point, where Jackie finds out that his dad is Isla's dad and Cam's dad because his dad was wilding with his moms, who also was in a relationship with Isla's moms. So I was like, man, this storyline, as confusing as it sounds because of me, my bad, it basically sounds like the same thing. So I was like, man, why are we trying to do this? Like my dad had a secret affair kind of vibe with these storylines. And then the dad's affair is always like coincidentally like a Hispanic woman. I'm like, what is going on here? What are we doing? Why do we have to do this? But whatever, if it makes the show work, it makes the show work. The only thing I didn't like is that they made Jackie, in the beginning, they just made Jackie seem like this happy-go-lucky guy who was just making ends meet with a simple 9 to 5. He was working in a concession stand. He was working as concessions in the arena that the Los Angeles Waves play in. And then he meets Isla later through different just outcomes of chance. And that foreshadows that at some point their lives are going to get connected somehow, some way. You just didn't know how. And then you find out it's because they're family. But what makes it crazy is that she decides he could have signed an NDA to say that they were never family and never mention it. And they would have gave him $2 million to just go away, just disappear from their lives, and everybody moves on. He takes the $2 million, he keeps it moving. Instead, he wants to know so much more about his family because he never really had a family of his own, that Isla decides to hire him as her assistant, not knowing about his experience at all in being an assistant, or work rather. And it almost seems as if they kind of hint that she wasn't really paying him. I guess it sounded like that. Like either she wasn't paying him or she wasn't paying him enough. And in my mind, I was like, fam, I probably would have just took the $2 million. I ain't gonna hold you. If you're not paying me, I'm gonna be dumb tight. I'm just gonna take the $2 million and invest and become better at something, or I don't know, or invest in one of the teams and own them. I don't know, but I would have did something. But it was a $2 million, and all he had to do was sign an NDA saying he would never mention he was related to them ever. So, just saying. But anyway, I didn't really like that storyline because then after that he became an idiot. Like he legit, his character just like devolved so fast that he just ended up sounding like an idiot for the rest of the show. He was doing things wrong, and then he showed that he could do things right. So it was like, we didn't really need the dumb character trope in this one. The show was already goofy as it is. And I just didn't really care for that. I didn't really care for the fact that she had a happy marriage, but now she was dealing with the fact that her fiance Jay was also like, it was about religion, and then she said, I'm cool with converting to being a Jewish, and that was like cool. But then like she turned around and she couldn't be there for him, but homie knew this whole time she was having problems in the job. Like that to me, I didn't like you knew this whole time shorty has having problems doing the job, but then at the same time you turned around and was like, nah, you missed out on one of the most important parts of my life. But to be fair, he was in the right because he told her right before then, listen, I know how much the playoffs means to you, so you don't have to show up to my event. And she insisted. Once you insist, the ball is out of, like, it's on you. If you don't show up, now it's gonna be like, damn, fam, you told me you was gonna pull up, and you ain't even try to pull up. And then you're gonna make an excuse because she really did try to pull up, but she showed up to the wrong event, which was crazy. Those are some of the gripes I had with it, which was like, because sometimes with those types of comedies, they try too hard to me, and then it almost kind of falls flat a little bit on some of the jokes. But the jokes were still moving, and it still made for a good story. What they also did was it kind of had a Ted Lasso approach to it, and which makes sense because Ted Lasso is now deemed one of the best sports shows and one of the best overall TV shows of all time. So there's a blueprint to follow there about redemption, about overcoming things, about mental health. Just so many different tropes can come out of Ted Lasso that you could use it in almost any TV show, let alone a sports show. So in this show, you have, Chet Hanks, who's Tom Hanks' son. He plays a basketball player on the team named Travis Bugs. And his character is more of this like egotistical jerk where he just thinks like the world revolves around him. And he's one of the best players and everything. But then you find out that he has issues with his parent. You find out that he has just like these like emotional breakdowns. He's taking pills. He's addicted. Like everything just goes wrong with him. Like he's not really as perfect as he makes it seem on camera, but it's just because he's insecure with himself because of the way he was raised. And then you fast forward in that there's another character who's named Marcus Winfield. He's a veteran on the team. He's been on the team for a minute. He's been doing his thing. And because he's been doing all of this, he is tasked with like trying to be the vocal leader because he should be that because that's what veterans do. But at the same time, your man's was kind of like, nah, I'm good. I'm coasting over here. Just don't bother my mantra. Does that remind you of any two other characters you may know? Does that make you think of two other characters? You know, one guy who's young and has the talent to do things, but he's too stuck in his ego that he can't get out of his own way. And then another guy who's a veteran and feels like, hey, because you're a veteran, one of the people in charge is going to try to get you to mentor this young player to get him to be more on page with the rest of the team. Yeah, if you're thinking what I'm thinking, let's talk about that. Roy Kent and Jamie Tartt. This is basically a basketball version of these two guys. Like, everything about them was almost the same thing. This again, and that's what makes it not a bad thing. It's just understanding that y'all paying, like, y'all taking this like almost verbatim to what they did because it helps. Also, it was kind of funny when Travis did get mad about Sephora and he put Sephora ass on his jersey when he found out Sephora was sponsoring the team. I thought it was bad funny. It was wild for respect. He should have did that, but it was so freaking funny. And shout out to Sephora for just being cool with it, because they could have been like, yo, I know this was a joke, but y'all wildin'. Anyway, a lot of different things happen in this show, and I can go on and on and on about that. But a few other things I want to just say before I give my verdict and move on. One, shout out to my man Jay Ellis. To me, he's a legend in the game. He's been in shows since since The Game. He's been in the actual show, The Game, and moved his way up. And we all remember him more fondly from the show Insecure, where he played Lawrence, and we was all like, Lawrence Hive, Team Lawrence. Oh, Lawrence deserves a better chance. I was Team Lawrence. I ain't gonna hold you. I felt bad for him after the first season. But in this show, it's kind of a different approach. His name is Jay. He plays the team's coach. You could also tell from the start of the show he was going to play a love interest at some point, because they kept trying to showcase his, like, just his physique and the fact that he was a good-looking man. And all that time, you knew it was coming, but we just didn't know when. And it ended up showing itself at the end, which, again, I just didn't really feel it needed to be, but they kept hinting at it. The running gag that kept making me, like, it made me laugh at first, and eventually it made me cringe, which was Isla running into a clear glass door several different times throughout several different episodes. At a certain point, I was like, okay, we need to stop this gag. It's not that funny anymore. The first time I was like, ooh. The second time I was like, yo, she gonna keep running through that door. By the fourth time, I was like, fam, you got money. You can't hire somebody to fix this? But that's what makes the gag. Like, when is she gonna fix this? But I felt that gag got a little played out towards the end too. It got a little played out to me. Yeah, a lot of different things were flowing here and there when it needed to flow. The family dynamic, the family drama, the relationship drama. Also, dumbest moment in the show is Sandy, who is he's gay. And he was hiding his relationship with his boyfriend for over a year from his family. And his family, and that's his brother, snitched on him like, yo, we ain't even know you was a boyfriend, bro. Like, sorry. And just played a huge part in messing up their relationship. And because of that, Sandy was a wreck. He didn't know what to do. He calls a dude on Grindr, has the dude come over. They start making out. They get in the shower. Sandy allows the guy to leave the shower and roam his house. He's like, yo, I need to go get something from out there. Yeah, it's over there. Go ahead. All right, cool. Homie walks out the shower, locks Sandy in the shower, and robs this man completely. Takes the TV, takes everything. Your man was locked in the shower, frozen. That was crazy. Because it was just like, I don't know how Grindr works, and I never will. But what I do know is that it is some type of a like hookup app or something like that. So it was like, you just invited a random stranger into your house, and then when he asked could he go somewhere without you, you said yes. Wildin'. Outside of the bathroom, fam, you ain't going nowhere in this house without me. Especially if you're not my best friend, girlfriend, family member. If you're not none of those things, even if you're my family member, you ain't going in this house without me. Word up, period. It's just simple. That was the dumbest moment to me, but it made for good. It made for a good growing, changing moment in the character of Sandy, because it allowed him to realize, like, I shouldn't be afraid of being myself, which is a usual standard trope in today's television too. And once again, I saw my homegirl in this again, and I was hyped, which was Kayla Monteroso Mejia. And I told y'all when I did my review of One of Them Days, the film, I said, yo, every time I see this woman, she's gonna make me laugh. Now, granted, in this TV show, she wasn't really relied upon to carry that comedic weight. She did the best that she could in the little time that she was given, because she was only in like the first couple of episodes. I'm sure we might see her again at some point down the line in a season 2 or season 3. But for now in season 1, to see her again, I told you, I said I want to see more sis because she can do her thing. Maybe there'll be a show one day where she is the lead or supporting actress, and I will watch it because she is hilarious. So it's good to see her again. And finally, the final thing I want to say. Well, first off, let's do this. I'm going to hit y'all with the rating system for Nerds in the Hood. Let it come up on the screen. And I'm going to let you know that I thought that this show was all right. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a valid show. Sometimes the jokes fell a little flat. They got a little tired. Sometimes the cliches were like, okay, we get it. The storyline is what kept me afloat because I liked it. It definitely had Ted Lasso vibes to it. It was Ted Lasso light to me. Is it the best sports show on television right now? Nope. I told you already that honor belongs to Shorzy until Ted Lasso comes back. But it will do. It will do. I will be around for a season 2. It's not a terrible show. They left you with a good cliffhanger with Cam forcing his way out of rehab by bribing the rehab people and deciding to take the business back from Isla at the end because he just didn't like the way Isla was doing things. They finally sunk into him of what his brothers were trying to tell him at the beginning of the season when they wanted to take over. So I'm going to say the show is all right. Do check it out. It's definitely an underrated show. Mindy Kaling, this is another win on the book for you and your team. But my final thing I want to say, especially in honor of Women's Day, is that I want to send special flowers to Brenda Song. She finds her way in TV shows, especially in today's world. She doesn't have to be the lead. She is a strong supporting character. I've seen her in the past few shows in the past few years, especially Dollface, which was also heavily underrated. And she's always known how to carry a show. But I'm saying that because just like Kenan Thompson gets his flowers for being this legend dude that was acting since the 90s when he was a kid, we often overlook a woman like Brenda Song, or even sometimes other women like Kyla Pratt. We often overlook these women, forgetting that they legends too. It's because we see Kenan more in like SNL and stuff, but Brenda Song, yo, back in the day, man, I'm telling y'all, Sweet Life series, Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior, all types of stuff like that. She was in there. You seen her all the time making it happen. And she was dope. She was dope. She was able to play this like posh, bougie chick while also sometimes being able to have that funny, dumb dynamic. And she doesn't get the credit she deserves, in my opinion. I want to be here on Nerds in the Hood to say, give her all the flowers. She's a legend. Hell, give her own show again one day. I'll watch it. But shout out to Brenda Song. You always find your way in these projects, and you always make sure to stand out and make people laugh. So keep doing your thing, girl. And I hope you watch the show. Anyway, this is your boy Marv. We're going to sign out here. I'm hearing so much about basketball that I need to go play NBA 2K. So I'm going to go do that. Speaking of NBA, this show also is a parody, slight parody, because Jeannie Buss has a lot of say into this show too as one of the executive producers, because it is a parody of her life, how she grew up with her dad and her family. Because you can even tell if the name of the team is the Los Angeles Waves, it's basically just the Los Angeles Lakers. So also take that into consideration when you're watching the show. It is a funny parody, extremely funny parody in that sense about her life growing up being the daughter of the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. With that being said, once again, happy International Women's Day to all my women out there. Keep doing y'all thing, stay safe, and I'll see y'all again next year on another edition of Nerds in the Hood. Peace out, y'all.